So it's a mashup of multiple texts, and on the bottom right-hand corner, the page numbers from each of the original editions are put there. But the Calvino book is organized, a bit more preamble. The Calvino book is organized by sections of Marco Polo's journey to Kubla Khan. And they're like these fantastical tales of places he's been, so he's telling Kubla Khan the places he's been. The book does not keep those sections in there, so I have a reading key. This is my reading copy. A reading key that I made for myself. That's the entire structure of the book. So I never read it the same way, so we're going to see what happens today. So I'm going to get started on it. And all the sections are named kind of like cities and something, or something about a city. So it's not a specific place, it's more of a characteristic of the kind of place. So like future cities, or cities in desire, cities in memory, those sorts of things. So I think I'm going to start today with a section I haven't read before, which is thin cities. So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to try to itinerary my way through the book. Who now governed them? The buried. Enclosed beneath the rocks, neighbors of the Holy Ghost, being esteemed good. Fact, as pumpkin cut spirally, singing eyes, practice the various modes of wild animals. Vessels, temporary, and perpetual succession, begin again. Spiderweb, stone. Few glimpse the chasm's bed in its whole extent. Sand, skins, fresh water. Know the net will only last so long. So I never actually have, I think, read this book sequentially. I've never read it from cover to cover and being like, oh, those 2 pages line up really well. I just sort of read it at some random itinerary. So that was Thin Cities. I'm going to move on to another one called Cities and Names. There is little I can tell you about an array of proverbial virtues swollen with rules. Recollection of the words to fix it, an interpolation, its orthography, the quality of the water. Immediate space, temporary guests, they remain, perhaps they already existed, multiplied, as in the original. I found a typo in the original, and that's a typo. Memories at night, you can hear them, unable to tell them apart. Abundance of an imaginary kind. Collapsing beams and shifts of the terrain rusted through neglect. Only this is known for sure. The shards of the original splendor serve a different use. Nothing of splendor. Less appropriate to inhabitants' needs, show them off like a gem. What remains? The hour when the lights come on collects. Along the sides of it every season, no person shall dare weep evening. From the itinerary of the hidden cities. If you go out and hunt carefully, you may find there are already blossoming bodies, asserting the human flesh like tree trunks, broader at the edges. Their hands they may not touch to their temples, speak the grim gaze, see a piece of the mouth state, seeks a crack in a summer sky, calling for the century of the swallow to begin, the curve of an opening horizon. Interpret it this way. The change with time, the relationship second to season. Invasions of history, both beast and birds. What fauna, language forgotten in its peculiar, I should not tell. A temporal succession of malignant seed that infiltrates like a climbing plant. The central part is filled with pith, germinating secretly inside a word. Cities and memory. The gods crow. Who has seen the man who arrives? Doves stare when days are growing shorter by the arms, alighted on a woman's voice. Now believe his days were seldom to depart. How long they were a desire, a foregoing narrative, a brawl. The young go by already memories. I could tell you where the Ark of Noah rested. This would be the same as telling you nothing. There is the manufacture of space and the past. The distance of it is said to be in ruins. Mostly the fish on the dock, telling each other for the 100th time a sponge is past. Examine the inhabitants of the present. Situated on the edge of today, Read nostalgia, what it was, saying to them that follow the traveling rate of light, see time. So the way that John described the book is curious, just because if you don't know Italo Calvino, he was a player of games himself. Pretty much everything he did was mathematical or somehow patterned in a curious way. There are choices that are either made by the author or made by the author's system. And what was interesting about this book was, I guess I discovered it off of a coincidence. I literally was sitting at my table, and I think I wrote this in 2014. And I was watching the World Cup, and I needed something to do because I was moving, and I was basically waiting for my time to move. So I was thinking about random coincidences, and I was like, what would happen if you put this up against Marco Polo? And what's funny is you think there's no way it lines up. But Italo Calvino, of course, being the trickster that he is, does sort of line things up strangely. So sections of the book seem to kind of follow each other. So this Photoshop version I did was really just following the patterns. So to read on to another, I guess 2 patterns I will do for you, and then I'll do the closing, which is the opening and the ending of the book. Cities and the Sky. That's purple, not pink. Let's read the pink. It will decide for me. Cities and Eyes. The mood of the beholder in the gutters, the manhole covers, the fish scales, waste paper, sinks each morning. Sooner or later the day comes, the present day. Digging into the cellars, the foundations, the wells. A space in which routes are drawn from what is outside the eyes scanning a blank page. The foundation established the place according to the position of the stars, intersecting lines of navigators, the axis of calculation and belief. An eclipse of the moon guaranteed the firmament following the calculations. Peoples came with howls. The position of the stars, seeing an opportunity in the firmament on that date, thus the sky. And other drugs are alluded to here. Habits, a shadow theater. Because I've never done the green one. Cities and Signs. You walk for days among stones. Rarely does light sign a thing. The end of winter, according to the canons, departs. Finally, and all those cloths which we call muslins are but images of things that mean other things. A tank, a barracks, a sign that something has a sign. What is forbidden? Fish with your pole from the origin of the word. Places, the most eminent and populous. Inhabitants manufacture, men acquire considerable wealth, but are poor. I too am a dirigible, hands hovering. I too exist. Of things, basalt, the alphabetical order of up and down, halls, stairs, bridges, a cabinet, a cloud of smoke, the dazed eyes of circumstance. No one wise inhabits fringes and estuaries. Never in words, it is in things. But it has its course, is through the teeth of life, and glides between the banks of nature. The outskirts, where men and women practice various modes of wild animals. The city is an artificial place. A city itself may be sundered. It may be taken down like a tent.